All right, so we're at it again. I got cut off in my introduction to the product rule video, the first one that you watched. So I left you off right about here where I said that it's totally fine if you leave your answer here, but if you wanted to expand it, you could. And that would really just be a situation where it was a multiple choice question and they were asking you to find the product rule and this was not a answer. Then you would have to continue, expand this out, and you get x plus 2x plus 2 plus 2x squared plus 4x, and you go ahead, expand it, combine, and this would be your final solution. But for right now, I'm more concerned that you understand the process of using the product rule to find the derivative. So leaving your answer here, it's okay. All right, so I'm posting a worksheet that you guys will be doing the odds to. So I figured I'd do a couple of evens with you. What I kind of am stressing here is for the first time that you're doing this, the key off to the side really helps. You know at this point that the derivative using the product rule is the derivative of the first times the second plus the derivative of the second times the first. And we also note that as f prime of x times g of x. We label the second to be g of x, g prime of x times f of x. So that being said, using this rule, I think that writing the key is important. Next year when you do this, it's going to be done so fast and so often that you won't need that. It'll just be something that you're able to kind of just do in your head while you're figuring out the derivative. But for right now, I think that deciding what f of x is, or your first function is, and deciding what g of x is, or your second function, is important. So I know what f of x is. Here's my key that I talked to you about. Make the key for f of x, f prime of x, g of x, and g prime of x. Okay? And so f of x I just labeled was x plus 1. F prime of x, taking the derivative of this, is just 1. The derivative of 1 turns into 0. G of x is the square root of x plus 2. I'm not even going to write that because I know I can't take the derivative in the form of a square root, so I'm going to rewrite it as x to the 1/2 plus 2. Now that's in the form that I can take the derivative. When I take the derivative of x to the 1/2, that just becomes 1/2 x to the, now you're subtracting a whole, but we're going to subtract it in the form of 2 over 2, and I get negative 1/2, and the derivative of 2 is 0. Now, I want to clean that up, but I'm going to worry about that at the end. So here, I'm going to start taking the derivative. So my notation changes from y to dy dx. And I go ahead and say, all right, the derivative of the first is right here, it's 1, times the second, which is x to the 1/2 plus 2, plus the derivative of the second, which is 1/2 x to the negative 1/2 times the first. Okay, so our foundation's laid down, but let's just put it in the correct form. We didn't start with fractional exponents or negative exponents, so let's get them out of that form. So this just becomes 1 times this is the square root of x plus 2 plus, now this goes into the denominator because it has a negative exponent. So this is 1 over 2, and it becomes x to the 1/2. We drop that negative, which makes this a square root of x, times x plus 1. So again, cleaning it up, dy dx is equal to the square root of x plus 2 plus x plus 1 over 2 rad x. So this is one way to submit your answer. However, you'll see eventually, especially in AP Calc, a lot of times you come up with your answer and it's not there. You have to know its equivalent. So adding fractions, we know we need a common denominator. In this case, my common denominator would be the 2 rad x. This has a 2 rad x, but this was missing that. So what you want to do is, to simplify it, is to get a common denominator. And this was missing 2 rad x, and this was missing 2 rad x. And so you would just get 2 rad x times rad x plus 2 plus x plus 1. So your final answer would just be, and I wouldn't ask you to multiply that, it's 2 rad x times rad x plus 2 plus x plus 1 all over 2 rad x. And yes, you can simplify it further by trying to multiply, but as I said, I'm really just concerned that you're okay with getting it up to this point. Okay, this is the point that I really want you to get to. The other problems that I'm going to put up a picture of examples 4 and 8 just for guidance, but I don't think that we need me to be on a video live doing that. So if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out.